welcome back to another episode of Real Stories. I'm your host, Jordan Sylvester, and today we've got Michael Crawley. How's it going, Michael?
Going great, thank you. Great to be here.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming. As per usual, we just usually like to get right into the story.
Sure.
What's your story, man?
What's my story? Wow, where do I start at? I'm from Cape Breton, so
Okay.
I grew up in a small town called Whitney Pier. So we like to say we're from the pier, dear. And it was a lot of steel workers, miners, very culturalistic type community.
Yep.
It was the melting pot of Canada at the time in the beginning of the 19th century.
Okay.
But that's where I grew up at and went to school there. Did 1 year out the highway. I call it grade 13 out the highway at the University College of Cape Breton. But I joined the militia. I was in the militia for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So a group of us, we joined the militia during high school. One of our good friends was in it, and he got us to join. So we were in the military. A lot of us took different call-outs and went different places throughout Canada and the world. But it was 4 years in the military. It was really good. And then I did a call-out in Vernon, BC. When I came back, I started working at a restaurant.
Okay.
And then I ended up answering an ad. I was looking for something that would be more self-employed or in sales.
Okay.
So I answered an ad for shampooing carpets and started with a company called Electrolux in 1988.
Wow.
So, they were around for a long time at that point in time. And so I started in Sydney, and I worked with them for 2 years. And then I took a manager's job in Bridgewater with them. So I moved 6 hours away, turned that into one of the top stores in Canada. And then probably over the next couple of years, I went to Halifax and Yarmouth, ran different stores. And at one point, I was running 4 stores for them. So that took me up to about 2005, 2006.
Okay.
I was looking to buy a franchise, and they told me Windsor, Ontario.
Oh.
So I looked at the map and seen, Toronto, London, Windsor, Detroit.
Yeah.
Called the guys up. I showed up here for, I think it was August of 2006. I flew in, and I'm looking down, I'm seeing all these swimming pools.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have a lot of swimming pools back home.
No.
A lot of lakes, but the weather, it's not going to allow for that type of, to have a swimming pool. But anyway, I get off the plane. It was 34 degrees. It was like it just hit me. And it was that way for the whole week that I was here. But the people were friendly. The vegetation around here, because you got a long season of growing.
Yep.
A lot different than back home, but it was just phenomenal. So, but while I was here, one of the things that everybody said, why would you move here? So I'm looking for opportunity.
Gotcha.
And everybody said the same thing. Yeah, but this is going to be a ghost town. Now, this is 2006.
Right.
And I'm like, a ghost town? Why? And they said, well, everything's going to close. Everything's changing. And I said, well, I'm from Cape Breton. They closed the mines, they closed the steel plants, and we're still all surviving.
Right.
So anyway, I moved up here the next month. I went back home, packed up my car, and moved up in September. And I've been here ever since. Met my wife here.
Wow.
I have my family. So, yeah, it's been fantastic.
That's amazing.
That's pretty
man.
much where I'm at.
That's where you're at. No, that's awesome. So you grew up in Cape Breton, went to grade school, high school,
Yep.
cut your teeth there. What would be like one of those when you were younger? So when you were, in grade school, what was that? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, initially I did want to be a lawyer.
Okay.
That was one of the things I wanted to be, probably in junior high,
Yeah.
but I didn't like school.
Ah, yes.
I did not like school.
I have a very similar. I always thought I would be very good at the arguments, like being able to devise ways to converse. But again, just looking at how long it would take to get the schooling done was not good for me. As in high school, I spent more time usually hanging out with people than necessarily doing the school.
That's right.
So, but yeah. So when you look back and you're like, okay, so you basically just said no to the lawyer thing once you realized how long it would take to get there, and then you mentioned you did start working, but then looked for the sales job.
Yeah. So the school part of it was by the time I hit high school, it's like, I don't want to go to school.
Right.
It's different today because, I study all the time.
Right.
But for school, I wasn't interested in it. But, so go back to your question again?
Yeah, no. So when you actually say that, it's interesting. It's interesting when you say I study now, but didn't then. I think that's fundamental to you want to learn what you want to learn,
Yes.
and you don't want to learn what you're told to learn.
Right.
Right? Like, I think as human beings, especially when I want to know something, I can know everything there is to know about it. But if I don't, it's like you need to know that. It's like, okay, unless it's really need to know, I'm probably not going to remember.
Right.
The question there was when you went to work, you said you started in a different style of job. I don't recall exactly what you'd mentioned.
I was in the restaurant. Well, militia and
then
working in a restaurant, yes.
And then from there, you decided to get into something for yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, which was sales, which is where I learned to study.
Okay. And so what caused that transition when you were working at the restaurant? What was the catalyst there for you to be like, okay, you know what? Restaurant business is great, but I'm
was the same old.
Okay.
You know, same thing every single day.
Gotcha.
And I didn't see a lot of advancement either.
Oh, so it's just there's a roof. There's a place where you kind of stopped.
It was a great restaurant, Joe's Warehouse, but I just couldn't see a future.
Gotcha.
And then I was seeing that, you know, what can I do that I'm working for myself?
And
that was my thought process.
And then that brought you to where, which company was it?
Electrolux.
Electrolux.
Yeah.
So again, and then now, do you still own that here in the city?
I own the franchise, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, and then, so with Electrolux, how many years were you working there before you decided to open the franchise?
So it was 18 years.
Okay.
So back home, we did direct sales, door-to-door sales,
Yep.
Telemarketing, that type of stuff. But my first 2 years, first year was strictly sales. Second year, sales, but also teaching other people.
Okay.
And then I get into the management side of it, leading and recruiting and training salespeople.
Okay.
Yep. So I was always in the field, always training, always doing the same.
Just kept on growing your knowledge base, kept giving yourself more and more opportunity. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I became a division manager, ran 4 stores. And then point came, they said, looking to buy a franchise.
And expand.
Yeah.
When you think back to the military days, the militia days, like that's so interesting to me. I have one of my cousins. He's in the military. He's out in Halifax.
Okay,
so he's stationed out there. He's in the Navy these days. It's so interesting because again, I always thought about, like, as a kid, for me it was the Air Force. Always thought about like flying the fighter jets and doing all that stuff. Like, when you said you had a buddy who kind of got you into it, what kind of drove that passion to kind of get into the militia, and then what did you learn from that experience?
Well, what drove us to get into it was when he said you can make this much money every month.
We pay you to be here.
We pay you to be here. It's 2 nights a week and weekends, and then it turned out to be as many weekends as we wanted. And then there came a point in time where we could go in and tell our teachers, "Listen, I can go for work at the militia this week, and if I just need you to authorize to give me the week off," and they would.
Wow.
But we did really well. But what it was, I guess, it's just being in the military. Like, it was just, we were just 16, 17 years old at the time, 18 years old, for the 4 years. But just being able to learn new things in the military. And we had a lot of freedom as far as, we were on call-outs, going away on the weekends.
Right.
We were in the woods, so weekend warriors as it was. But yeah, you were making some money.
That's awesome.
That was the big part of it.
The big part was they're going to pay me to do this. And so when you think of any of your buddies who are still in the military today or are retired from the military?
Some of them are, but they passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
but that's it. But all the guys that are in the militia, we do calls regularly. And, but none of us are Reg Force or anything like that.
No,
the guys that went Reg Force, a couple of them, they've already moved on. They transitioned.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When we're talking about move to Windsor, so you grew up, did you mention that you were in BC as well for a minute?
I went to Vernon for one of my call-outs.
Oh, okay. So you were in Vernon for a minute, because I'm like, you've been on the East Coast most of your life, and then all of a sudden you're on the complete opposite coast. So I did catch that. So when you what was that like to go from East Coast living all the way out to BC and to engage on the other side of the continent?
And again, the heat.
The heat.
That was heat wave galore for the whole summer. I mean, they're 100+ degrees, right?
Wow.
So, but it was a beautiful place. It was a good call out. It was a cadet camp. I was the only person there from the militia. The rest were all Reg Force or cadets.
Okay.
But it was a memorable summer.
Yeah.
Good and bad.
Good and bad.
But yeah.
When
you're in the military, it's not all going to be glory, right?
No.
When they say there's no life like it, there's no life like it.
Would you recommend it to young people?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
So you're back in Cape Breton and you're back in the area, and then you said you moved 6 hours away. So that was another
to
transition
Bridgewater.
to Bridgewater. So what caused that transition?
I was taking a manager's job. So moving from the store in Sydney to running my own store in Bridgewater.
Okay.
So they told me Bridgewater again. Looked up at it on the map and made my way up there, and that's where I started my next life, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we'll fast forward now to Windsor. So now you get this opportunity to open a franchise here in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You come into town for that week, you check it out. You're like, all right, yeah, let's do this. Then you move this way. Now you're still single at that point, as
Exactly.
you mentioned. Yeah. Okay. And so as you're coming into the city, what was the thing about Windsor outside of the heat? Like you said, all the swimming pools as you flew in. Like, was there a draw to the city that you saw when you first came here compared to home? You're like, I could live there. Like, there's something
It was, I mean, this is known as the Big Little City.
Right.
But it's just a phenomenal spot. I mean, look at the waterfront that's here.
Yep.
You got Detroit right across the way.
Yeah.
You know, I went over there right away. I mean, people were like, don't go to Detroit. I was like, I'm going over to Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit's phenomenal.
Well, yeah, they've got all the food.
Yeah, and that was 2006, 2007. But you know, you go forward to 2012, Detroit's like a happening place.
Yeah.
I mean, we were going over there every weekend as much as we could, right up until COVID.
Right.
But no, I mean, Windsor's just a phenomenal place. I live in Amherstburg now, and I love that town.
Right.
But you know, when you take Windsor all the way around Leamington up to Chatham, and just beautiful area, good country area.
Yeah.
I mean, the farms, everything. It's amazing area.
Yeah, when one of the funny things about Windsor that I talk to people about is within the real estate world is, again, you get all the amenities of Toronto, the GTA, but none of the traffic. Yeah. So like, I want to go to a sports game, right? I can just, well, the tunnel bus, right? But you used to be able to just go grab the tunnel bus, go right over to the sports game, hang out for the evening, come right back on the tunnel bus and go home. In Toronto, it's like just getting movement and going into different places is so much more difficult. So I tell people all the time, I'm like, and real estate here is so much cheaper.
Right.
So when you think about, like you said, the big little city, right? Yeah. We have a true metropolitan across the border, and it's so quick to get there. Yeah. You want to go across. Now all the sports teams are in the downtown core. They've revitalized over the last number of years. It's beautiful. Yeah. So you mentioned you met your wife in Windsor area.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
So my wife, she's from Chatham, but she was working in Windsor, lived in Windsor, and a friend I was hanging out with, a group of us, we'd have barbecues on Fridays and Saturdays. And this particular Saturday, he was having a barbecue, and my wife, Donna Lee, showed up for the barbecue. She wasn't even going to come that day, I guess, to the barbecue, but she ended up showing up, and I said, yeah. Love at first sight.
Okay.
But yeah, we bonded, made a connection, and the rest is history.
How many years have you been married?
So
now?
married 13 years.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, 13 years.
Yeah, she had a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old daughter. Okay. Daughters, Jordan and Amber. Yeah. And so that's when I came into their lives. They're now 24 and 22. And then we have a son, Jackson, who's just turned 13.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's Jackson's favorite pastime? Is he into sports? What
music. He loves soccer.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he knows everything there is to know about soccer. But music is his biggest thing.
Music is his passion.
Oh yeah.
Guitar, piano.
Piano.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took about 7 guitars to figure out it was the piano.
He wanted to play guitar and realized he preferred the piano?
Well, he kind of started learning on a guitar, but just never took hold of it. But the piano, he's a whiz.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he loves the piano.
And with your girls, what are they up to now?
One is a teacher.
Okay.
And the other one's going back to school. She was an esthetician, and now I'm not sure. I think she's going to go back for early childhood
education.
Yeah, education. Yeah.
What's your wife do?
And she's a quality manager with Caltex.
Okay.
So she's an auditor, and she's also a mindset coach with myself.
Oh, right. Yep. Yes. So you still run the franchise.
Yes.
And then now you also, as you just mentioned, you have another side hustle, as some would say, or is that becoming more your primary hustle?
It's pretty much 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
So, and what is it you do there?
So I'm a business and mindset coach, world class, just helping people become the best versions of themselves. And again, it's all goes back to Bob Proctor.
Okay.
A lot of people do know who Bob is, but it's the Proctor Gallagher Institute.
Yep.
And one thing that Bob always talked about was our habits, you know. And if you want to change a habit, there's only 2 ways to change a habit. One is through spaced repetition, right. And the other may be emotional impact, which is usually negative. So spaced repetition is doing the same thing over and over again till you form that new habit.
Right.
So that's what I teach on.
So you generally go with you don't go with the mallet to whack them, you go with the repetition.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I learned that through sales too, right? And that's true because in sales it was the same thing, right? You had to take the briefcase or take the hammer, one or the other.
Right.
That's kind of like an old saying: the hammer never works.
No.
No.
No. If you want to create relationship and actually have somebody purchase from you, a lot of times there needs to be trust.
Yeah.
Never usually found trust with anger.
No, and especially motivating salespeople.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it, right?
Yeah, you mentioned you train.
Mm-hmm.
So long before you got into the coaching side of things, when you were back learning all the skills before you were even manager, you started to train. When you went into that business, if somebody else is young and they're at work right now, what was it about you that allowed you to gain that, opportunity? What was was it your curiosity? Like what would be the things you look back and say, man, I'm so glad that I had that in my life, or that's part of who I was, that allowed me kind of to get ahead, whereas other people are more complacent.
Just to learn.
Just seek.
That was the biggest thing was, yeah, I mean, I was excited about what I was doing,
Right.
but it was just going out and learning it every day. I mean, you're dealing with people, you're getting rejected all the time.
Right.
So I just learned to deal with certain things, right? So I come up with that I get paid to be rejected. And then I would figure out, okay, well, how much am I earning? Okay, and then I would divide that up by the presentations, divide up by the amount of people I spoke to, divide up by the amount of doors I knocked on.
Right.
And so I just start figuring things out that way.
This many no's to get to the yes.
Yeah. And, because if you don't, as you know, there's not a lot of people that make it in sales.
No.
Sales is, and truthfully, there's not a lot of good salespeople out there either.
Right.
Because it's a profession and you got to really study into it, right?
Yeah.
But you got to put the time into it. And a lot of people, I think, try to do the least amount.
Well, what I find so interesting about sales a lot of the time is it confuses me because the better you produce, a lot of times the more you get paid. Mm-hmm. Sales jobs where that doesn't exist seems counterintuitive. It's like I get the complacency, I'm doing my job. Mm-hmm. When you're in sales, you're really you're serving yourself and serving others.
Right.
Right. But there's a self-serving nature to it. But by educating myself, I'm much better at presenting. I'm much better at communicating. I'm making sure that I'm not making mistakes with the clients, and they know they can trust me, work with me. Where again, when I think back as a young person, I worked for Rogers Telecommunications, and going door to door, and you get no, slammed in the face. It was a lot of doing that till you get the yes.
Right.
And one of the things that some of the guys didn't understand was why I would take time with different people. So I would spend time with people that, an elderly person took them 2 hours to go through the contract. Instead of the guy, if you just moved on from that person and did the next contract, you might be done in 15 minutes. I said, each one is important. That's the mistake you're making. I said, there's the idea of being in business for a long time.
Yep.
Or you can be in it and make a lot of money in a short time, but then you'll get to be known for how you treat people.
It's
the way you act before you will eventually catch up to you. You might get away with it at the beginning, but over a lifetime, that's not what you want to see.
And that's what it's all about, how you treat people.
Yeah.
When I started in sales, that's one of the first things I said. I said, I'm going to treat people the way I treat my grandparents.
Treat people the way you treat your grandparents.
That was, I don't know how I come up with that motto, but that was my motto.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. When you go over to grandpa's house, right, you just remember, my grandparents would say there's an inside voice. I'm not sure I ever did find the inside voice. But there's just a different understanding when you're at grandma and grandpa's. There's a kindness that exists there, but there's also rules that exist that are different than at home.
Yep.
So it makes a lot of sense. It's actually a really, well thought out idea. So you don't know where it came from. You don't know when it.
I don't know when that came about, but I know that was very, very new because I knew nothing about sales.
Okay.
The first book I can still remember. The second day I went to the bookstore. I bought a Zig Ziglar book on selling, and I would read that when I got home in the evening time. And but that saying come up pretty quick. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess, probably from some of the previous, we had Jim Hickey, Art Spencer, two of the guys that were in the business when I joined in Cape Breton. And they were like in it for 30 years at that time.
Right.
They were longtime guys. And so maybe something he said, but one of the keys was always you take care of the customer. We deal in high quality products. Right. And it's the same thing. Everybody knows everybody. You take care of people.
Yeah, you don't want to get the bad rep that sticks to you because if you have a quality and an integrity, it helps you grow.
Right, and you don't need to. You just go out and do the right things because selling is serving.
Right.
Yeah.
So interesting as you say that. So how has that helped you in your marriage? Like when you think to your personal life with the kids, with life, is there like I look at my life sometimes and I can see the benefits of the skills. Sometimes I see the negative aspect of the skills too. How do you see that translating into your personal world, if you don't mind?
Well, all the stuff I learned over the years, of course, you use it. Like my son right now, he's 13, but for years, I mean, I've told him when he wants something, and we may say, well, maybe not right now, or my wife might say to him, not right now, or we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look at him and say, man, you better go sell her. You want it, you got to sell her.
Gotta
And
sell
he'll go
mom.
talk to her and come up with a little better argument or whatever the case may be, or reason.
Yep.
But it's true. I do it all the time. I said, go sell her. You want it, you better sell me better than what you're doing. Because we're all in sales,
Right.
right? Babies sell. How do they sell? They cry.
Right.
They want more food. They want something, right? That's how they do it. They have to. But who's the best salespeople? Children.
Mm.
They go to the grocery store. I want this. I want this. And you say, no, 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 no. And next thing you know, they got it in their hand. They're walking out the store with it, right? But we're told no. There's other sides of it too. We're told no maybe 5,000 times before we're 6 years old.
Right.
So there's a lot of rejection there. So we could have different beliefs. But
Yep.
children, they just keep at it, right? So selling all the time.
Yeah, they're resilient.
Very.
It's something it's interesting as we get older. Like there's certain things we get older and we get wiser in, and certain things I think we lose along the way. There's a childlike understanding. It's like, well, I'll just keep asking till they either say yes or we leave, right?
Yep.
And that's the child's perspective. I want it, so I want it till I don't see it.
Yeah.
And for the parent, it's how long can I withstand this conversation before I would rather just give this thing to them.
Exactly.
And as a parent, you're stuck because again, with kids, you're like, so sometimes, and my daughter likes to shop with me of all the people because again, we'll be out and she'll say, I'd like to buy that thing. She doesn't do it a lot, so it's not like we're out every time and she wants something. But when she usually asks for something, I'll usually get it for her. Whereas with her mother, who she tends to shop more with, that's a bit of a different conversation because she only shops with me every once in a blue moon. So when we're out and about, it's so interesting the dynamic difference between parents.
Yeah.
And so you told your son to go have another, like when I grew up, it was if I asked my mom and she said no, and then I went to ask my dad because mom said no, and then he'd say yes. So I take that yes and go do it. Then there was a conversation later about what had just happened. So how do you that concept? Like
I parent differently.
Yeah.
No, truthfully, she could be right there, and I'll say, Jackson, you want it, you better go sell her.
Ah, okay.
Like truthfully, yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, just tell the kid. Yeah, interesting the dynamic there. So it's he understands. All right, if I want something, I need to understand how to communicate to my parents in such a way that isn't just I want, but a reason and a purpose behind the need.
Exactly.
Ah.
Yep. It was no different when he was young, and we'd go to a store after school, and how kids, they want this, they want that, and I would say, well, if you want it, you got to pay for half of it, because he would earn money from his music, right?
Right.
So maybe his grandparents gave him money certain weekends, or he was singing, he got some money from it. But that's what I would do with him. I would say, if you want that, you pay half. Or I would say, if you want that and I didn't think he should have it,
Right.
because he already had one at home, I'd say, you pay for the whole thing.
Right. What was his response to that?
Well, certain times he would buy it because he really wanted, and other times he put it back on the shelf.
Right.
So he was learning big time then, right?
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's how I pretty much raised him up to right now.
Up to right
And
now.
he's making some, like he does some gigs, he makes some good money.
Wow.
So he decides on what he wants, and if he wants to go spend $100 on something, he goes spend $100 on it.
Yeah. No, it's a work ethic though. You're teaching your son a good life skill. I tell my kids all the time, school is important. So I try to not be as against school as I might have been in my youth. But I said, as long as you figure these two things out, it's how to communicate with people. So your communication skill, and then how you communicate with yourself.
Yes.
Right. So if you're able to communicate with yourself in such a way where you're able to be diligent behind things, and then it's how you care for people. After you get those things done, the rest, right? It's problem solving, right? And care.
Right.
Those two win the world. Why? Because you can pretty much learn anything if you can problem solve, right? If you're willing to see what the issue is and fix it, but you have to do it in such a way where you actually care about the people, not just the problem. Because again, in conversations, that would be where I struggle, is to want to always fix the problem and not necessarily always care as much about the concern,
right?
If that makes sense. So when you're in your coaching and in your growth right now, what's you said you're 50-50 in both your worlds.
Yeah.
What's the next stage going to look like? If you were going to like forecast 5 years or 10 years or whatever your current forecast is, What do you want to see happening next?
Yeah, so my coaching is very, very important. As part of the Proctor Gallagher, I definitely see myself as one of their top coaches.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you, when I started with Proctor Gallagher, it was 6 years ago.
Okay.
I was 32 years with Aerus at that time. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do for the next 32 years. So
Gotcha.
the Aerus I'm going to continue because I love it. I mean, if you cut me open, little air purifiers, water purifiers, and vacuums would flow out of me, right? Because it's in my blood. The coaching side, they complement each other.
Right.
The healthy home business, it's all about the air you breathe, the water you drink, and what you absorb. And the coaching side of it is really, it's all about your mindset,
Right.
you know, and they both go hand in hand. I love both of them.
That's amazing.
So, you know, Bob Proctor, when I seen him, when I went to Los Angeles, this is why I get into the coaching. He was 84 at the time.
Oh, wow.
He was 3 days, and he was on that stage back and forth. He gave it everything he got. I can still have the full 3-day video.
Right.
And it was amazing. And that room was like, I think there was 800 people. And it was the most positive room you could ever be in.
That's amazing.
You know, because of his information, it's all about awareness. And it's nothing they teach in school.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I want to be a coach, and I want to teach this. And I figured, hey, so 32 years. I said, I was with Aerus for 32. I'll teach this for the next 32. I'll probably teach it till 3 days before I go in the casket, truthfully.
Yeah, right to the end.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things, as I'm getting older, mentoring, right? This idea where whether it's coaching, training, just trying to use all of my own stupid that I've done in my life to try to help others see kind of the same roadmap. It's like we don't realize what we're about to go into. We can't know what we don't know till a lot of times we're standing there.
Yeah, that's right.
The most important thing I've learned is to talk to other people before the problem gets bigger. Because a lot of times you're like, you don't want to look like you messed up. You're like, I don't want shame. I don't want to feel like people. No, most people, if you reach out to them, aren't going to respond. Oh yeah, man, I messed up there. Here's what I did. I'm glad you called now because this is what would have likely happened, right? And so often why do they know it likely happens? Because they didn't make the phone call. It's interesting to me. So in the coaching world and in this idea where it's like, hey, if you're going to struggle, if there's going to be issues, you need somebody, whether that's a coach, a mentor, someone in your life who you can be honest with, and that there's not going to be judgment, right? Like,
right.
In your world, when you think about judgment or that, like, how do you maintain that positivity with the clients instead of, where they don't feel judged, they probably feel encouraged?
Yeah, well, you always look for the good, but you got to put the ego aside.
Right.
If we put the ego aside, the world would just go that much better.
Right.
And that's the biggest part of it. But, we all judge to a certain degree, but everything's perception, right? So when I look at clients, it's no different looking at anybody. There's always good in everything. And it doesn't matter what's going on. Every negative, there's a positive.
Right.
But you can find that. Sometimes we can't find it in ourselves, but we can find it in somebody else, right?
Right.
But this type of material that Bob teaches, he was at it for 60 years when he put one of our particular programs together, Thinking into Results. But it's all about understanding how the mind works. And once you understand how your mind works, it helps you understand how other people's minds work.
Right.
And we're all the same at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The computer program runs the same.
That's right.
It's
just programmed a little differently, but it does run the same.
Well, and you can reprogram it.
Of course you can.
And that's what's most interesting.
Yeah.
The reality, I used to say things, well, that's just who I am, right? Like I used to fall into some of my old habits. So I've started to unlabel the labels because procrastination or other things that would exist in my world, I've learned that, okay, maybe that's true in the past, but it's not going to be true in the future. And maybe it still presents as that. If somebody were to look at it and they could say that, but to me, I'm like, there's no benefit in me continuing to label that because when I do, I'm giving myself permission to be like that.
That's right.
And so in some of the same psychological change, it's like, it's interesting as you start to rewire. And I find it's simple. So for me, a lot of times it's just choose the good thing, like choose the better option. Then if it doesn't matter, it's going to be okay. Those two get me into the most trouble because they give me that freedom where if I just do the thing, whatever it is now, and I do the good thing right now instead of delaying that, then magically my life seems to get better. I don't seem to have as many issues. And so it's interesting as you bring that up. It's so cool to understand as human beings we, especially in this culture, deal with so many mental issues.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's so different is because we've given them all names,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've decided instead of in the past where people just sort of picked up their boot, you know, today it's a crappy day. Like, but now people add depression or anxiety or all these other labels to it. And now the problem is people then associate those labels with themselves.
Exactly.
It's one thing to recognize, oh yeah, I'm feeling a little depressed today, but to use the term I now have depression, I think has not benefited our culture.
No, you start carrying a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And what you said earlier, you take action versus thinking about it, or, you know, that's the other little roommate in the mind telling you stuff, right? But you take action. That's the key to it. But yeah, there's all kinds of labels out there today.
Yeah.
But that's the importance of understanding how the mind works.
Right.
You know, and we don't have time for it today.
Right.
But if you ask people, what does your mind look like? How many answers come up?
Right.
Right? Most people don't have any idea about their mind.
Right.
Right? We think of the brain, but the mind is something different. The brain is physical.
Right.
The mind is just an activity. So it's totally different. And then you got your conscious and your subconscious.
Yep.
But we see in pictures, you see, that's one of the biggest things. We don't see, we think intellectual, but we don't see, if I said to you, Jordan, what do you think about when you see lobster?
Yeah, I picture the lobster.
Right? You don't see lobster. You
No.
see whatever, red lobster or crates with a lobster. We see in images.
Right.
So when we talk about being depressed, what's the image that goes into the mind?
Right.
See,
Yeah.
whatever, and if you're told something, you're this. If a young child's told you are whatever it might be,
Yep.
there's the image that they have. And then they start holding that image of themselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Good or bad.
So it's all about the mind at the end of the day.
Yeah. So with your wife and your kids and your family, when you think about how you're training them, right? Like you're training your children and as they are growing, what would you want to tell, like your son's 13. So, and then your daughters are in their 20s. What would be one thing if you're saying to a young person, right, in that same group era, what would be the one thing if you could leave it with them to say, hey, what should they do? How would they best be served in moving forward with the mental and mind?
Continuously positive affirmations to themselves.
Right.
You know, we're God's highest form of creation.
Amen.
But so many people put themselves down. I'm stupid. I'm ugly. You know, think about it. How many people are doing that?
Right.
How many young girls are opening magazines and then they're getting a bad self-image of themselves?
Right.
So you've got to work on that, but positive affirmations for sure.
Positive affirmations.
You know, and when I say that, I mean, it could be, you know, I am loved. My family loves me. My mom loves me. My dad loves me. My sister loves me. My brother loves me.
Yeah.
You could go on and on with them. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I can do anything I put my mind to. There's so many out there, right?
Right.
I have a list that I send to people, but really you got to program yourself that way. Because if you don't program yourself, the world's going to program you.
Yeah.
And we live in a negative world. 95% of everything out there is negative.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I mean, the news, there's not much good news being sold, right? It's bad news. So people are in harmony and they're listening to the bad news.
Right.
Well, guess what? Then they regurgitate that to the next person, right? Because they think that's good information that I'll pass on.
Right.
And it's negative. And so what are young children listening to?
Right.
When they're in the car and you have the radio going, you know, or the conversations that are going on around them.
Right.
It's a negative world out there. Negative goes into them. So it just, it kind of filters.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's what I would suggest is you have to really, you know, promote yourself.
Right. Positive affirmations, keeping your mind clear. No, it's been, that's awesome. Is there any last words you want to leave with the people?
Listen, life goes fast, as we know. You only have one day at a time. Don't live in the past. If you want things in the future, bring them back to the present. You know, act as that person you want to be, but don't live in the past. Let go of all that weight. Right. If you got things that are dragging you down, let it go. It's not worth it to hold on to it. And live in the present and, you know, just spread a lot of love.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for being here. if people want to reach out to you, if they wanted to hear about your coaching, or they're interested in, some vacuums or air purifiers and cleaners, where would they find you?
So my air purification, Aerus, we're at 5428 Tecumseh Road East.
Okay.
And as far as the mindset goes, theprofessorofprosperity.com.
All right. Professor of Prosperity. I like
.com.
that. That is .com. That's an awesome title.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, it's been awesome having you. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. This has been another Real Stories. We look forward to seeing you next time.